moved to North Carolina, we really haven't kept in touch.
We being?
Myself and my friends.
Okay. Where did you attend high school?
That was high school. So you're talking less than high school? It would be elementary school. That high school was from grades 7 to 12. Grades 1 through 6. I believe it was St. Vincent's Elementary School. I believe this school. It's been a while.
Do you have any people who you consider to be childhood friends?
I would say so, but we don't really keep in contact since I moved to North Carolina.
Give me the names of the people that you consider to be childhood friends.
Scott LaMarche, Mike McKenzie.
Where is Scott LaMarche?
Last time we talked, he was still in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Had to be 5, 6 years ago.
By phone?
Yes.
Do you know if he's married?
I'm not aware of his marriage. He was married, and they later got a divorce.
Did you attend high school with him?
No, we became friends after high school, well in Calgary. But
after high school?
We met. We didn't attend high school together. We attended different high schools, but Medicine Hat is a fairly small city. It's about 50 to 60,000 people.
Do you have any childhood friends, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade friends that you know could call their names?
John Colbrick was one that I grew up with, and all through grade school, our families worked together. Our fathers worked together at the college.
Spell his last name.
Colebrook.
Do you stay in touch with him?
I have not. Our family still stay in touch. They moved away to someplace in British Columbia years ago.
Any other childhood friends?
That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
And the two that you listed were people that you met after high school, is that right?
Those are the ones that I kind of knew going to high school, but they attended different high schools than myself. But we knew each other from living in Medicine Hat together, being about the same age.
Who is the second one?
I said Mike McKenzie and Scott LaMarche.
Where's Mike McKenzie?
He is currently working as a teacher in Medicine Hat.
And when's the last time you had contact with Mike McKenzie?
Had to be, again, 5 or 6 years ago. We kind of communicate via our families. My parents see him, he sees them, so that's how kind of we communicate.
Any other childhood friends?
Those are the ones that currently come to mind right now.
Where did you attend college?
I attended 1 year of college at the Medicine Hat College.
What year would that have been?
That would be from 1991 to 1992.
Any other college?
After that, I attended the University of Calgary.
What years would that have been?
As far as I remember, it would be 92 to, I'm guessing, 95, maybe 96.
What year did you graduate from college?
95 or 96. I can't remember off the top of my head.
You can't remember what year you graduated from college? Okay.
No, I can't, no.
Okay. Do you have any college friends that you could call by name?
I don't think I really kept in contact with anyone in college. I was trying to think if I did or not post-college, but I really didn't. We had a pretty small class in college. It was in the computer science department. Our class size was maybe less than 100 people.
What was your major?
Computer science.
Did you live in a dorm, an apartment?
I lived in an apartment.
Did you have anyone that lived with you in the apartment?
I lived with a girlfriend for, I think, 2 years in Calgary.
What's her name?
Taylene Lyon.
Spell the name for me.
Taylene, last name Lyon.
What years did you live with Taylene Lyon?
I'm guessing it'd be 92 to 94.
When's the last time you had contact with Taylene Lyon?
I tried to contact her a few weeks ago, but I was unable to reach her. Prior to that, years ago.
Why did you try to contact her a few weeks ago?
I was trying to get a hold of an old girlfriend for a reference.
Who were you trying to get a hold of?
I was trying to get a hold of Taylene Lyon.
Okay. I asked, why did you contact her?
And I answered I was trying to get a reference for as a girlfriend.
Okay, from her.
No.
Her.
She would be the reference.
Okay.
It was for Dr. Gould.
Okay. And what efforts did you make to get in contact with Taylene?
I sent an email to her place of work.
And what was the purpose of the reference?
Dr. Gould wanted to talk to some of my former girlfriends as independent evidence.
Independent evidence of what?
Of just my relationships, past relationships that I've had.
What other names besides Taylene's did you provide for Dr. Gould?
That was it.
Did you have any prior girlfriends besides Taylene?
Yes, but I didn't have any way of tracking them down or contacting them.
Tell me their names, starting with the most recent prior to your wife.
Again, I'm going to object based on relevance, but go ahead.
Prior to my wife, it would be Jennifer Wilson.
And where and when was Jennifer Wilson your girlfriend?
In Calgary, Alberta. And had to be 10, 11 years ago, I guess.
How long did you date her?
We dated, I believe, just over 1 year.
And did you live with her?
We did live together for a period of time, yes.
Where did you live? And for how long with her?
We lived downtown Calgary. I don't remember the address. I think we lived together, I would say, less than a year.
Where is she now?
I have no idea. I have no way of contacting her.
When's the last time you spoke to her?
10 years ago.
Anybody else besides her and Taylene?
As a girlfriend?
Yeah.
I'm sure I've had girlfriends prior to 10 years ago, yes.
Those two were the only ones within the 10 years prior to Nancy? And I'm saying that within the 10 years prior to the date you married Nancy? Or
10 years prior to the date I married Nancy?
Yeah.
So I married Nancy when I was, that's pretty much every girlfriend I've had since high school is what you're asking for.
I'm asking you to give me some names of girlfriends, of prior girlfriends.
During what time period are you asking?
Well, let's go with 10 years prior to his date of marriage.
So
Objection.
That's...
Don't answer that.
You instructed him not to answer?
I don't know how he can answer that. I don't know what relevance it has. That was from the time he was 14 years old on, Alice.
That's a question that I would agree to flag and allow Judge Sasser to decide later. I don't think it's worth calling her over at this time.
I don't think it's worth calling her over it either.
But I would like to mark it so that when we do take it up with the court, she can make the determination as to whether or not prior girlfriends within the 10 years prior to his date of marriage are relevant.
It's best you can answer that, Brad. Go ahead,
I'm
but with my
trying to think of
objection.
my girlfriends. I had one other girlfriend that I dated for 2 or 3 years. I'm trying to remember her name right now. There was Candace Ross. I think we dated for a few months.
Where is Candace Ross?
Again, I haven't spoken to these people in more than 10 years. So
Okay.
I've got no idea whether they're still in Calgary or still in the country. Those are the only names that I can think of right now.
Were you able to provide Dr. Gould with any names of any prior relationships with females that he was able to make contact with romantic relationship?
No. Given the general nature of the names and the fact that a lot of these people are probably married now, and we had no idea what city they were in, and they traveled in different circles than my friends in Calgary, we really didn't have any way of tracking them down.
Did you give Dr. Gould names for other references, friends or people that knew you, character references?
I did not provide a list of names for Dr. Gould for character references, no.
Did you provide him any references?
I provided him documents,
I mean, people.
people. The only person that I had tracked down was Taylene Line. I knew where she worked, but I was unable to get a hold of her.
So would the answer be no?
Yes, the answer is no.
Okay. Were you engaged at any time prior to Nancy?
Yes, I was engaged to Jennifer Wilson. And when I was leaving high school, I had a brief engagement with Taylene Line, yes.
Anybody else that you were engaged to?
That would be it.
Who is Celine Basson?
Celine Bazan is a student of a French university, a university in France that my team at NC State College was paired up with. We had a team here that paired up with team members of the university in France, and we worked as a team competing against other teams within the class.
When was that?
February of 2007.
Were you in France for some period of time?
I was in France for, I believe, 11 days, 10 days, 11 days.
When did you meet Celine Basson?
First time I met her was, I guess, day 3 in France. The North Carolina State University class spent a weekend in Paris first. And then we traveled down to a small city where we met the other university or college team. And that's where we met the rest of the class.
Where is Celine Basson now?
I have no idea.
When's the last time you had contact with her?
Probably March or April of 2007.
Did you stay in a dorm when you were in France?
We did. We stayed on campus at the college, which was dorm rooms, yes.
And who else was on that trip?
There would be about 30 or so, maybe 40 students from NC State that had traveled with us.
Any names that you can give me?
Some of the students weren't in my MBA class, so it was the first time meeting most of the students there. There was 2 or 3 students that were in my class, but weren't part of my team that we regularly met with at NC State. So when we traveled, it was the first time I met a lot of the people that was part of NC State. So do I have any names handy? No.
You don't recall a single person that was on that trip?
If I saw their face or saw their name, I could probably say that they were on the trip, but I haven't talked to anyone. I really haven't met with the people from NC State or anyone of the NC State other than Antonio Stagnito, which did not attend that class, did not attend that trip.
Did you stay in a room by yourself in the dorm, or did you have a roommate?
Everyone had their own room in the dorm.
Was Joseph D'Antonio on that trip?
Name doesn't ring a bell. If you had a picture, I could probably tell you.
But does Celine Basson rings a bell?
She was part of my team that we worked throughout the entire week with, yes. Anybody
else on the team you worked with throughout the entire week?
There was 2 other students that were exchange students from China. They didn't speak to too much English. And there was another girl that, it was the first time I met her, that was from NC State. And she was, it was the first time I met her as well, and we worked together for a week as well, but I didn't contact her after the class. We talked. I don't remember her name. I guess is the answer to your question.
How many people were on that team that you worked with for a week?
There was myself, the other girl from NC State, and I believe 3 or 4 students from France.
And the only name you remember is Celine Bisson, because I brought it up?
One, it was the name. So some students went out afterwards and went out to restaurants and other gatherings, and she was the only one of my team that went out. Yes. So the other students in my team did not attend any other functions outside of the class.
So who attended the functions?
Some of the other students, both from France, both from NC State. One of our trips, we went rock climbing. Another trip, we went to a student's house and had a barbecue, that sort of thing.
Can you provide any names?
I haven't contacted any of these people in over a year, and I don't really have any of their names, no.
Did you spend the night with Celine Bisson?
No, I did not.
Did you sleep in the same room at any time with Celine Bisson during that trip?
No, I did not.
Did you kiss Celine Bisson?
It's common in France to kiss each other on the cheek, but other than that, no.
Did you engage in any open mouth kissing with Celine Bisson? Did you engage in sexual intercourse with Celine Bisson? Did you engage in oral sex with Celine Bisson?
No.
Is Celine Bisson a truthful person?
A truthful person?
Mm-hmm. To your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And when was the last time you had contact with her?
Ask and answer, but go ahead.
To the best of my knowledge, it was, give or take, April of 2007. It could have been later, but as far as I remember, it was April of 2007, give or take a month or two.
When did you meet Nancy?
I met Nancy at TransCanada Pipelines.
When?
10 years ago.
You met her where?
At TransCanada Pipelines. It's an oil and gas company in Calgary, Alberta.
Were you employed there?
Yes.
What were you? Tell me the capacity in which you were employed at TransCanada Pipeline.
I was employed to help support the computer network.
What was your title?
To the best of my knowledge, network engineer.
And what was Nancy doing?
Nancy was hired after as a contractor to help with the computer support desk, applications, desktop support.
Do you recall how you met her?
We worked in the same floor, and Nancy asked me out a few times, and I had turned her down.
When was the first time that Nancy asked you out?
9, 10 years ago. Are you looking for an exact date?
No, but I'd like to know roughly what year, what season, what month.
Honestly, I cannot remember. It was 10 years ago.
Well, let me ask you this. When you say she asked you out, describe how she went about asking you out.
She asked me one time she asked me if I wanted to ride home. I said no. The other time she asked if I wanted to go out with some of her friends. And I said no.
Why did you say no?
I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I didn't want to get into another one at that time.
Did she continue to ask you out?
She asked me out a third time, and I did say yes.
Where'd you go?
We went to a bar beside CP Rail, which is a railroad company in Canada, where she had friends that worked for the company, and I believe it was a work party for CP Rail.
Did you then begin dating?
Yes.
Tell me about your dating relationship.
Well, that first date, we had that went to the party at CP Rail, and we just kind of talked talked to her friends. She talked to her friends. We just kind of had drinks. We went up for dinner later on, and then went back to her residence. And post that, we dated fairly exclusively to, I don't know, the next day we went to a movie. I remember that. I'm not too sure what you're asking, so I'm having a hard
How
time
long
clarifying.
was the dating relationship?
We dated until we got engaged. And
That's what I'm asking. How long did you date before you got engaged?
I think it was about a year or so.
Okay. Did you date anybody else during that time?
No.
To your knowledge, did she?
I know she went out with Brett Wilson once, at least,
How do you know that?
because our first date, I stayed over at her residence, and the next morning she went and had breakfast with Brett Wilson.
Is that the extent of her going out with Brett Wilson?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
When did you and Nancy get engaged?
The Christmas Day, I guess it'd be Christmas Day '99.
And did you propose to her?
Yes.
When did you get married?
We got married. It would be October the 13th, 2000.
And where was the wedding?
The wedding was at a Justice of the Peace's home
Where?
in Calgary, Alberta.
Do you recall who married you?
The actual Justice of the Peace, no.
You say it was at the Justice of the Peace's house?
Correct.
Is that standard in Canada?
No, we actually had a wedding planned for the following May, I believe, is the month we had planned. And I had a job offer with Cisco Systems in the United States, and they would only move Nancy and grant her a visa if we were married. They couldn't do it if we were not legally married. So we had to rush the wedding and be married before I accepted the job.
Who attended the wedding? Let me ask this. How many people attended the wedding?
It would be Gary and Donna Rentz, Krista and Regan. I don't know their last name, I'm sorry. They were friends of ours that worked at CP Rail. And I believe